A carriage journeys through a cold, snowy alley with its passengers on board. Everyone minds their business as some men while away time by playing games. Passenger Suzanne notices a strange kid heading aside consecutively and questions his act. Her partner Sarah flares up as she finds his silence offensive. Suzanne explains important things in the journey as he opens up. After settling in at a lodge, the strange kid heads out to look for a job. Suzanne coincidentally finds him at the joint to obtain job orders and suggests he join their group as they take on the job he chooses. He reluctantly agrees as she insists. The strange kid Rudius makes a formal introduction to the group as they head out to begin their job. They all take turns introducing themselves and their specialty: Patris, Timothy, Mimir, Suzanne, and Sarah. The group sets their camp close to their prey as they go over their strategy. Sarah cuts Rudius on his every attempt to change his position in the group's task. Sarah gives a heads up to the group to begin the job. Suzanne assumes the job will be easy for them, and Rudius observes something strange as he puts his head on the snow. The group is suddenly attacked by a group of dangerous grizzlies. They fight it with their might as they're surrounded but are no match for the enemy. Rudius steps forward and single-handedly ends the grizzlies, leaving everyone astonished and grateful as they prepare to head back. The group celebrates their first job at the joint by offering free drinks to everyone. After spending some months in the new town, Rudius feels content with his accomplishments, hoping his reputation increases, and someone special to him, Zenith, notices him. Sarah meets Rudius on his way back from a job and proposes he join the group as they head to select their next job expedition. Rudius tries to lift Sarah as she slumps, but mistakenly gropes her boobs in the process. A herd of dangerous animals attacks the group as they begin their mission. Rudius realizes he's not able to escape from them, and the group returns to rescue Rudius as they fight their enemy together. The strange man named Saul joins them in eliminating the animals and then accuses them of stealing his prey. Rudius clarifies the whole misunderstanding by explaining to both groups what went wrong, and the leader apologizes to Rudius' group for punching one of their own, Timothy. The group assembles to celebrate their successful job. The leader of the group they had a misunderstanding with, Saul, appears drunk as he causes commotion at their table. He particularly takes out his rage and frustration on Rudius as he scatters their table, saying harsh words to him. Rudius finds his group members in a sad mood, only to discover that they have lost the magical healer amongst them, Mimir, to death, and Sarah is also missing as they were attacked by snow buffaloes. Rudius inquires about the location as he excuses himself. Rudius questions himself as he heads out to find Sarah in the snow. He discovers Mimir's body and gives him a proper burial, but Sarah is nowhere to be found. A monster attacks Rudius, and he finds Sarah trapped in a tree. As he dodges the attacks of the monsters, he rushes to save her before being trapped too, and jumps into a river. They regain their strength in a cave as they lit a fire. Sarah rushes to hug Suzanne as she finds them heading to rescue her. Suzanne tries scolding Rudius, but is stopped by Sarah. They go their separate ways, appreciating each other's assistance. The group gathers to celebrate yet another successful job. Rudius observes his reputation has increased even more and has gotten closer to Sarah since their last incident. Sarah asks Rudius out on a date surprisingly. Rudius and Sarah discuss their fun-filled day, and they end it with some drinks at a bar. Things get hot between them as Sarah asks Rudius to spend more time with her because she feels safe with him. Rudius decides to flow with the mood and agrees to take her to his room. They head back to Rudius' room as they continue with their rendezvous, but something strange occurs as he touches her body softly. His body wasn't giving the required signals it should give by getting him in the mood even more. It was just still and unresponsive. Saul and Rudius sit to have more drinks as Rudius confides in Saul about his bad encounter with Sarah. He cries as he starts his story with his first love and her sudden disappearance after their first sex. Saul takes Rudius to a brothel to try it out with a professional. It doesn't take long after as Rudius heads out with the woman as he bows his head in disappointment. Both of them spend their entire night drinking and talking. Sarah rushes angrily to hit Rudius as catches him speaking ill of his encounter with her with Saul. Saul tries to stop Rudius' blabbing tongue from causing him trouble, but is too late as Sarah swears to never set her eyes on him. Saul lightens up the mood as he offers Rudius to tag with him and his group later in the day for an adventure. Rudius reports as he sees some grizzlies headed their way. Little did the men know the monster they were fighting was running away from a dangerous red dragon. Fear runs through the body of the men as the dragon eliminates anyone who tries to come close. Rudius creates an opportunity for them to retreat and ends up killing the dragon with his abilities. The men surprisingly watch Rudius attack the monster, leaving them in awe. While having a meal at a bar, a strange lady makes an acquaintance with Rudius as she lustfully stares at his body. The lady Eleanor introduces herself as a friend of Rudius' master, Roxy, informing him of her business with him. He finally discovers Zenith's location but realizes it's very far from his current location. Rudius investigates the genuinity of a letter received from Elenolise from a famous university where his master Roxy schooled. Rudius finds himself in an illusion of the strange being who instructs him to take up the University of Magic offer and make certain research and in exchange will get his manly potency. Rudius bids farewell to Saul and the party as he sets out to the kingdom of Renault for his studies. Rudius and Elenolise finally arrive at the university. Genius, a teacher at the university, welcomes Rudius as he instructs him to take a test before official enrollment. For the test, Rudius is required to duel the student who shares the same skill as his. A few minutes into the duel, Rudius overpowers the student Fitz. To avoid embarrassment, he quickly appreciates Fitz for allowing him to win as a newbie. After the president of the student council, Princess Ariel, gives a welcoming speech, Rudius heads to find his class. Surprisingly, an old pupil of his, Zenobo, welcomes him in astonishment, and he makes acquaintance with the rest of Lignette Persena and Cliff, a magician who boasts of his skills while making his introduction. Rudius finds himself in a large room filled with books for his investigation with no idea where to begin. He coincidentally meets Fitz along his way, apologizes again regarding their last incidents. Rudius finds himself surrounded by angry female students who catch him with panties that belong to the princess. Fitz bails Rudius by explaining the incident is a result of his carelessness and threatens the girls of Rudius to be freed from the accusations. Fitz joins Rudius as he notices him studying from a distance. Rudius learns about Fitz's research. Fitz offers to assist him in his research to make the process easier for him, and Rudius accepts with much delight. Zenoba pesters Rudius to tutor him on how to make figurines. Rudius finally accepts his offer, but every attempt to teach Zenoba results in futility due to his clumsiness. Rudius reports it to Fitz during the research in the library. Fitz suggests a solution to Zenoba's problem, and Rudius informs Fitz of his trial of the solution during their next break. Fitz uses the opportunity to lure Rudius into inviting him to join his outing with Zenoba. Zenoba, Rudius, and Fitz embark on their slave hunt in the market. After much analysis, they decide to opt for a young dwarven with little knowledge, so it will be easier to impart the necessary knowledge to the dwarven. A merchant introduces them to a malnourished female dwarf who's in despair. After trials, Rudius finally gets her to speak, and he takes her with him as they get her to eat. Fitz observes how Rudius is the only person who understands the little girl better as they try to think of a befitting name for her. They'd finally come up with the name Juliet. Rudius commences his lesson with Zenoba and Juliet as they make progress. Fitz, who's one of the bodyguards of the princess, is seen as a boy by Rudius due to her disguise. She spends the early part of her day jogging around cities learning about routes and shortcuts. She observes her fantasy about her male friend Rudy. Juliet shows an immense degree of progress in such a short while, making Rudius proud. Rudius discovers Lignette and Persena is responsible for the destruction of one of his precious figurines and decides to put them in their place. Rudius challenges Lignette and Persena to a fight as he provokes them. He single-handedly defeats them and takes them privately for torture. Rudius tries getting horny by groping Persena's boobs, still no improvement. He goes ahead to explain their actual crime as they plead for his mercy. Rudius keeps them locked up till he finds a satisfactory punishment for them. Rudius explains his predicament to Fitz as he seeks her advice. Rudius invites Fitz to his room only to find the girls in a miserable state. Fitz executes her idea of the girl's face, instructing them to carry it for a whole day else it'd be tattooed permanently. After the release of Lignette and Persena, Fitz tries to open Rudius' scared box that contains Roxy's underwear, but quickly stops her as he shows her other things. Rudius' curiosity to see Fitz's whole face while she lay on his bed increases even more. He ponders on what would have occurred if he had taken off the glasses as they bid farewells. This draws a close to the ongoing Mushoku Tensei series. Leave your thoughts and personal opinions in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also turn on your notification button.